We Star Wars fans are a weird bunch. We love Star Wars, we love the Skywalkers, and yet for years all we've been begging for is a story detached from the Skywalkers. Well, it's finally about to arrive on Disney Plus. My name is Ren, and this is my review of Star Wars The Acolyte. Welcome back, Star Wars family. Thank you for joining me as we journey to a galaxy far, far away, and this time, literally, a long time ago. Set at the end of the High Republic era, we follow a respected Jedi Master investigating a series of crimes that bring him into contact with his former Padawan and reveal sinister forces. Now, as many of you know, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. I have been excited for this show, and I couldn't have prepared myself to actually be at the London premiere. The best kind of environment to experience a new show, a new movie, and I can confidently sit here and tell you that in many ways, I was impressed by The Acolyte. It offered me everything I wanted from a show that feels so detached and so different from the rest of the Star Wars that I also love. But I will not sit here and tell you it's the best first episode of any Star Wars show because it isn't. Star Wars The Acolyte has a lot to admire, but it also is riddled with issues that really stand out. It's like looking at a beautifully designed statue, and as beautiful as it is, you can also see the cracks. And those cracks are most evident in how the first four episodes overall come across. At this point, I've seen the first four episodes, so I've seen the first half of the show. And while I found the first episode to be effective in its storytelling and filled with interesting ideas, there's this constant sense of the story just wanting to get the premise out of the way. It does the essential for a premiere episode, but it doesn't do anything beyond the basic. It's an episode that runs at 42 minutes. Most of them run at 42 minutes. Episode 4 runs at 32, but feels so much longer in a good way. Episode 1 is short and fast instead of fast and sweet, or short and sweet. I screwed that up. Don't mind me. But from episode 2 into 3 into 4, I genuinely found all of them to get better as they go along, to present us to a galaxy that feels different and yet looks familiar in all the right ways. An intriguing blend of genres that we have never seen in Star Wars, nor have we seen it done to such a high level of quality. Fascinating characters, intriguing dynamics, and a layer of mystery that you can't help but be intrigued by. Do I think all of these elements will have satisfying payoffs? We'll get to that in a bit, but what I can confidently say about this show is that Star Wars has never felt more different. From the setting to the atmosphere to the character dynamics, the way we see Jedi represented in this series, it's like we have never met a Jedi before. It's genuinely fascinating. Showrunner Leslie Headland's love for Star Wars is so deeply a part of the DNA of this story and the feel of it all. It's like breathing new air when you visit an old familiar place, but it feels new at the same time. I am loving how the Acolyte is exploring the philosophies of the Jedi, how they are a religion, but also peacekeepers, not soldiers. And I also have to praise the hand-to-hand combat. It is so beautiful and fluid, with spectacle naturally injected because of the use of the Force into the choreography. This is the height of the Jedi Order. There have never been so many Jedi alive guarding over the galaxy. And yet, not for a second was I bothered that they don't use their lightsabers that much. Number one, because the stunts, the choreography are so beautiful and so natural and have such great use of the environment and are so beautifully shot in gorgeous wides where you're just left to admire the stunts and the work of the actors. But also, the Jedi are not soldiers. They save others, they do not attack them. and I have never seen that better represented in all of Star Wars. Most of what the Jedi do here is self defense and using the enemy's movements against themselves. There's something inherent in just the visuals of this story that understand what Star Wars is, and more specifically, what a Jedi is. Which means, for better or worse, this show is very much the prequels. With the prequels, its mysteries were drawn out, anticlimactic, and so obvious from the start of the story, they always undermined any potentially interesting commentary. The Acolyte seems to be doing its own version of that purposefully, where it's paying off so many mysteries so fast without doing any of the proper build-up for those payoffs to feel satisfying. There are story shifts in these first 4 episodes that feel right for the moment they happened. Like I said, episode 4, I'm halfway through the show, and there are story shifts, character decision that feel right in concept to happen in those moments to shift the status quo of the series. But the show, the story, the character relationships, as interesting as they are, have not been built up enough, developed enough to earn those big moments. The optimistic part of me says that maybe the second half is about something else other than this. But at the same time, the show has not been building up any alternate story directions that it could focus on in the back half. And that encapsulates all my issues with the Acolyte, where I love so much of its time period, so many of the new planets that we see, planets we've never been to before, interesting characters, interesting dynamics, and I just don't see how it all comes together. I love Soul. He is my favorite character in this show. Amandla Stenberg is doing wonderful work with such a multifaceted performance, and apparently they're all doing their own stunts on screen, and you can see it because it's so well shot. It brings a new identity to Star Wars. The Acolyte is martial arts meets crime thriller meets space opera, and I've never seen these elements all combined with such incredible fight choreography that also has lightsabers, with such an intriguing, dark, intimate exploration of characters and identity. But we don't have time to develop all of these. At least in these first 4 episodes, they haven't done a great job in developing them. We don't spend enough time on each of those planets. We have only gotten glimpses of Coruscant, glimpses at the depth of these relationships between Soul and his former Padawan, between this murderer of Jedi and what happened 16 years ago that they tease so much, and it's the focus of episode 3, my favorite episode, which is where the story shines. When the story feels smaller, it's when it works the best. But at the same time, you want to see Coruscant 100 years before the Phantom Menace. You want to see how the Jedi Order works. You want to see all the Jedi working together as peacekeepers. You want to explore more of the Jedi as a religion, as peacekeepers, not as soldiers working for democracy. They're separated from that, and they're presented as such, but you don't get to dive into all these directions because it's only 8 episodes. And again, I've only seen 4. Maybe the back half pays off all of this in interesting ways. I just can't feel optimistic right now because Star Wars has been so inconsistent overall as a brand. And it's always so strange for me to talk about a show I want to love like that. This show isn't even out, so obviously I can't get into spoilers, but I want to love this show and I am not mixed on it. I'm enjoying its pieces more than the whole. The whole right now feels nebulous. So I can understand if many people watching those first 2 episodes feel frustrated with this show, where they want to love it, but they can't quite get there. I get it. This story, if anything, feels inconsistent with so many new elements that are promising and exciting, but also a lot of the familiar flaws we usually have with Star Wars Disney Plus shows specifically. It's a show that has a lot to offer. It's a show that has a lot of new to bring to the franchise, and clearly a passionate and unique voice is talking through this story in Leslie Headland. I can only hope it pays off. But before I dive into my final thoughts on the Acolyte, it's time for you to start the conversation about it in the comments below. Have you seen the first 2 episodes now on Disney Plus by the time you found this video? Are you excited for the show overall? Have you found all 4 episodes by the time you found this video? Anything and everything down there. Let me know your favorite Star Wars TV show and what kind of Star Wars TV show do you want? Anything and everything down there. If you want to talk more Star Wars, I have so many Star Wars reviews on the channel right up here. Or if you just want to talk more movies and TV with me, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Despite its obvious flaws, I am very impressed with The Acolyte. Its blending of martial arts, crime thriller, and space opera offer it a distinctly unique atmosphere, characters, and story to the galaxy we all know and love. More so, the philosophies and faith of the Jedi have never been so ingrained in the storytelling of the franchise, nor have they ever been so interesting. The depth is present. This is a show that promises so much. We can only hope it can deliver. And no, I'm not giving The Acolyte a grade as I've only seen half of the show. Once the show finishes, spoiler review will be out and we will finally grade this show. But thank you so much for watching, Star Wars family. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts, your excitement for The Acolyte episode by episode, and look forward to our spoiler discussion when the show airs its finale. Thank you so much once more for watching. Big shout out to my channel members for always supporting the channel, and I'll be back very soon with more reviews. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.